Hey there and welcome to the channel. So the reason you've clicked on the thumbnail is because you want the 5 tips that are going to get you night riding. So stay tuned because we're going to go straight into it. So tip number 1 to get you riding at night would be to get some lights. Now that seems quite obvious, but you don't have to go and spend a fortune because they have budget lights out there, and that's where I started. So up there in the card is a review I did, and that is for a budget light that will certainly get you on your way. Now they don't produce the lumens that they say they do in the descriptions, but they produce enough for you to be able to see where you need to go on the trail, and that's all you can ask for. If you buy 2, you can put one on the bar, one on the helmet, and the reason that that's important is because the bar will only ever face the way that you're pointing it, and that seems obvious, but your head, as it looks into the berms, into the corners and into the obstacles on the trail, you're going to get an indicator of what's coming up, whereas the bars don't do that until the moment that they're pointing there. So 2 lights. Doesn't have to be 5,000 lumens, the top end of the scale sort of thing, but you can certainly get some that will get you on your way. So that's tip number 1. So tip number 2 would be to go somewhere that you're familiar with. There's no point hitting a trail that you've never been on before and literally fingers crossed hoping for the best, because that will end up in disaster. So go and hit a trail that you've done a few times before, because when the light in the sky goes out, the perception of the trails completely changes, and what you need is to be familiar with what's coming up. So my bonus tip would be, like me and Ads, we've come up here, it's not quite dark yet, and we're going to session a couple of the trails while it's still light to make sure that nothing's changed, and then we're going to go into the night session as it carries on. So that's a good way of ensuring that you're going to be able to get from A to B and going to have no dramas on the trail. Tip number 3 for night riding: always go with someone. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, good. Yeah.
That looked fun. Can I have a go? Just something else to add to the reason why you'll always go with someone is because if something does happen, then you've got someone else there to back you up, and hopefully if they're familiar with the trails as well, they're going to be able to get you help, which is certainly needed in some of the places that even we go to, because they're quite remote and not so local to, let's say, the nearest telephone or something where you need to raise awareness that something's gone wrong. So having that extra someone with you, all right, is an absolute key point. So tip number 4 would be that when you go and hit the trails, if you do decide to go on your own, the minimum you should do really is tell someone where you're going, but also take a phone with you, because if you do get into trouble, it seems obvious, but you can get in touch with somebody and tell them where you are. Similarly, if you're on your own and you said, let's say, I'll be back at 6 o'clock, and 7 o'clock comes and you've not made a phone call home, then someone can be concerned about that and raise the alarm, and hopefully help will be on its way if that's the kind of situation that you've got yourself into. But make sure you take some form of communications with you, and between the pair of us, we're sorted tonight. And tip number 5 is just go and enjoy it. So me and Ads are going to hit the trails while it's still fairly light at the moment, and then we're going to hit into it testing our new little presents that we got at Christmas, the exposures, see what they're like, and it's going to be great fun. So here's some snippets from that. Hope these 5 tips have helped you out. It will certainly get you on your way, but just try it, because I can promise you this, you'll absolutely love it. Yeah. No! Saved you. Oh, mate.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I was on for a winner. You were there.
Nice, lovely evening. Still, it's not too cold, probably about 6 degrees. But we're fairly warm. The owls are out. The badgers are out as well. I'm watching some deer. So if you fall off, you're probably going to get mauled to death. So
that's another reason to go with someone, isn't it, mate?
Exactly. Yeah, I've actually seen that happen. That's the truth.
It's a true story.
I've got his bike.
Oh, good effort, mate.
Right.
Oh, shall we do it?
Let's go.
Gets pretty fast for her. That's no joke with the wildlife though, just be careful, because it's their playground and they come out at night big time. Last thing you want is ploughing into one of those. So here we are, just hitting into the final bits of trail really. Not much to see that you haven't already. It's proper pitch black now though, and you can see with the right lights that it really opens up a different avenue to mountain biking. I hope that the 5 tips have really helped out, because it's all you need. You know, like everything, don't take it too serious, and then if you start to really enjoy it, then look at buying, like I have, the more premium product. So going into the final bit of the edit, I'm not going to take you all the way to the bottom, you've seen enough. However, if you want to see more, give it a thumbs up, because I really appreciate it when you do that. And oh yeah, throw your comments in below. But what would be even better is if you subscribe, and I'll see you for the next one.